quarterback Tommy DeVito to keep them in the running of the NFC South. There are playoff vibes in the Dome today as both teams need a win to keep their postseason hopes alive. Welcome into Saints Game Day Live right here on NewOrleansSaints.com. Alongside our senior Saints writer John DeShazer, I'm Erin Summers. We're looking forward to a 12 o'clock kickoff today against the New York Giants, who have won 3 games in a row under their new quarterback, Tommy DeVito. Saints really need to get this victory to stay in the running for the top of the NFC South, and one of the ways that they can do it today is taking down DeVito quite a few times. That is the poll question of the day. You can scan our QR code right here on the bottom of the screen. How many sacks do you think the Saints are going to have today? Now, last week the Giants did not allow a single sack. However, they are the worst in the league with 69 total on the season. How many do you think the Saints got today?
Well, I mean, they got 4 last week. I don't know if they'll be able to do that this week. Hopefully they can get around the 3 area and maybe shake Tommy DeVito up, but that's going to be a major issue for the Saints in this game.
It is going to be a big key, trying to contain him. That leads us into our countdown to kickoff presented by Little Caesars. We'll start offensively for the Saints. We know that we're not going to have wide receiver Chris Olave. However, tight end Taysom Hill and wide receiver Rashid Shaheed are able to go in this one. How does that change things up for the offense?
Well, this offense already doesn't have Michael Thomas. We've mentioned that several times. If you don't have Chris Olave also, that's your top 2 receivers probably. So now Rashid Shaheed's probably going to have to take on a little bit more responsibility. You mentioned Taysom Hill is back, but Ryan Ramczyk is out at right tackle, so you might have to fish around and shift around a little bit on the offensive line. I would imagine that would be Landon Young at the right tackle, but the offensive weapons change up when you don't have Chris Olave. He needs to be on the field with Rashid Shaheed, because if you're a defender, you kind of know what Rashid Shaheed is capable of. You certainly want to be able to take away the deep ball. If you don't have a threat on the other side that can take some of that pressure off, then you just kind of put a cloud over him, and you might double team him a little bit and force him into some situations where you basically can take the ball out of his hands, and you'll see if A.T. Perry is the guy, or Keith Kirkwood or Taysom Hill are the guys that can beat you.
Sure. I know they've been doing really well in the red zone. They've gotten touchdowns 7 of their last 8 trips there. Taysom Hill is usually a big factor on the goal line, so that should continue at least the production there. You mentioned Ryan Ramczyk, Saints right tackle, will be out today. Who can we expect in his place, and how do you handle that?
Well, it's going to be Landon Young probably. It might be Cam Irving. Cam Irving played really well when he filled in at left tackle earlier this season, so if he's got to play right tackle, we feel pretty comfortable about that. Landon Young has filled in before, so the Saints feel pretty comfortable with him there. So you just hope that offensive line play that they've had the last couple of weeks, not necessarily yardage-wise, but protection-wise, and especially running in the red zone, they've been really effective about that. So hopefully they're able to kind of keep that going in this game. Alvin Kamara's had 3 rushing touchdowns in the red zone the last couple of weeks, so we want that to carry over.
Kayvon Thibodeau, the DN there for the Giants, has 11.5 sacks, and he's somebody to keep an eye on. On the other side, defensively, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, how do you contain their quarterback, Tommy DeVito? He ran for 71 yards in the last game.
Well, he's been really efficient. They're on a 3-game winning streak because he's completed 52 of 72. 595 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's the big number for them. And so you've got to be able to get to him. We keep saying this about the Saints. And they were able to do it last week. They got to Bryce Young. Can they get to Tommy DeVito, who's going to give you a little bit more mobility probably than Bryce Young did for the Carolina Panthers last week? And mobile quarterbacks have been the death of the Saints defense. So they've got to be able to rush. They've got to be able to maintain their integrity. They've got to be able to get to him, and when they get their hands on him, get him on the ground. They've had some issues with that this season also. So hopefully this will be the game where they get to the quarterback, they get their hands on him, they get him on the ground, even though he's a mobile quarterback. Because if they don't, and he ran for 71 yards on 10 carries last week, you don't want him to be in the 50-60 range this week.
It's not only DeVito who can get going on the ground, but Saquon Barkley, 783 yards on the season. He had 2 rushing touchdowns last game. That's the first time he's scored twice on the ground since 2019, so he's really gotten going. How important is it for the Saints to get out to a fast start to eliminate their reliance on the run?
Well, if you can get those guys playing from behind, then you can probably have an effective pass rush, because you can maybe dictate a little bit more what they want to do offensively. If you can get them from behind, get them playing from behind, they got to throw a little bit more. If they're balanced and Saquon Barkley is doing what he's doing, and also in the pass game, he's caught 31 passes, but he got 4 touchdowns on those receptions. You need to keep the ball out of his hands as much as possible. And oh, by the way, Darren Waller is back at tight end. We know the issues the Saints have had covering tight ends. So the Giants have some weapons. It might not look like it all the time. They're 5-8, but they've got some guys that can hurt the Saints if the Saints can't cover them and can't keep them contained.
Last week, the Saints had a huge special team play. Now this week, they are getting Rashid Shaheed back. Tongue twister. How is he going to help them in the return game?
Well, here's what I hope will happen. They blocked the punt last week, so maybe the Giants will max protect, keep more guys in to protect the punter. If you do that, then you don't have so many guys covering as quickly, and maybe Shaheed can flip the field with a decent return.
Yeah.
We know he's got the 76-yard touchdown return on the punt against Green Bay. Hopefully, he can get something, maybe not similar to that, but if he can pop one 15, 20 yards, maybe 1 or 2 of those, you flip the field, you give your offense the short field, and they can take advantage of it.
Heck, I would take a return. I would definitely take a touchdown from Rashid Shaheed. That would be awesome, and I'm sure head coach Dennis Allen would enjoy it as well. You were able to catch up with him heading into this matchup against the Giants. Let's check in now with head coach Dennis Allen.
Coach, the last 2 games, 7 of 8 in the red zone, 7 touchdowns, 8 trips inside. Just what's been the key to kind of getting that on track?
Well, look, I think it all boils down to execution. I mean, the space that you're dealing with down there in the red area is a lot less, and so the precision that you have to execute with is critically important. I think we've done a good job of running the football down there in the red area, and we've taken advantage of the passing opportunities that we've had. Certainly, Jimmy's been a big part of helping us down there.
We know this is obviously a next man up league. Didn't have Rashid Shaheed for a couple of weeks. Maybe Chris Olave a little bit dinged up, but how does it change an offense, I guess, to not have guys like that on the field?
Well, look, I mean, I think anytime you're missing people of that caliber, it makes it challenging on whatever side of the ball that you're dealing with. And so, look, we're going to have some other guys step up. Guys that are going to have to fill in those roles are going to have to step up, and other guys playing other positions are going to have to step up. And that's just the nature of our league.
You know, Giants rookie quarterback Tommy DeVito, great story, but he doesn't seem to be a novelty act. He seems to be a legitimate player who can get things done. What have you seen from him on film?
Yeah, I've been impressed with what I've seen. You know, I think he's operating the offense at a high level. He's able to throw the ball. What he did in the 2-minute against Green Bay on Monday night was pretty impressive in terms of his poise in that type of environment and that type of situation. And look, he's done a really good job of creating some things with his feet. He's protected the ball over the last few weeks. So those are things that, with a rookie quarterback, that you have to stress and emphasize, and I think he's done a good job of doing those things.
This is a game that has some implications. Obviously, you guys are 6-7, they're 5-8, but both teams kind of in the playoff hunt, scrambling. Just what's been the message this week?
Yeah, the message this week is let's go 1-0 this week. Let's focus on the Giants. Let's focus on the things that we need to do to win this game. And this is a big game for us, so I think our guys are going to be ready.
Now, Aaron mentioned earlier DeMarco Jackson's scooping score last week against Carolina. Well, he is the feature for our player spotlight presented by Community Coffee. Aaron's finding out what's brewing with DeMarco Jackson and the Saints special teams.
Welcome to What's Brewing, presented by Community Coffee, alongside linebacker DeMarco Jackson. I'm Erin Summers. You were a part of a huge moment in last week's game. You blocked the punt, kind of. It ended up being a fumble, but you scooped the ball up and you score. What was going through your mind during that moment?
It was just like surreal, seeing everybody light up, seeing the guys clap like all around. I really just tried to go and find Nephi and just, celebrate together.
Right, it was Nephi who set you up there. Did you get the football though?
Yeah, I got the football. I literally threw it up as I'm running back to the sideline. But at the end of the game, they brought me the ball and said this was it. So yeah, I got it back at home right now.
There you go, your first NFL touchdown. You had a tough rookie season, being injured all of last year. Does it mean a little more this season to kind of see it come into fruition after everything they went through last year?
Yeah, last year was kind of frustrating to me, just having to sit out that whole year. And I just tried to do as much as I can to keep learning. And you know, it's like a good feeling when you start to see just little things progress, and you just keep progressing on, and you're just starting to see your work paid off that you did last year, or the extra studying you might have put in for that game plan. So it's a great feeling seeing like it come back to you.
You spent a lot of time here. You became a big part of the community. You rode in a Mardi Gras parade.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
That was a crazy experience. It's no parade like that I've ever been in. People throwing crawfish, people throwing all types of just different things, beads to clothes to some like toilet paper. It was
It was in tux.
Yeah.
So yes.
it was pretty funny. It was a great experience though.
You've also spent a lot of time over at the Children's Hospital with Ochsner, with the kids. Why has that been important to you?
Well, really just getting out of the helmet into the community and just going there and just putting smiles on people's faces and praying with them, talking with them, seeing the kids, if I can get them to games. Like really just trying to make an impact in their lives, let them know that somebody's thinking about them, and I'm here to help them if I ever can.
A big moment in your life happened in February. You got engaged. So
Yes.
How's the wedding planning going?
So I don't have no control in the wedding plan, but my fiance, she's excited. This off season, we're looking at setting the date, at doing all the venues, shopping, I guess. So I'm just gonna be along for the ride.
Yeah. So you grew up on a farm. Is the farm a venue, a possibility?
Well, in my head, it's always it can be, but I got to see what she wants. But that's a great idea. I'm gonna bring that up to her.
Hey, how is the farm? You done any calf wrestling, bull riding recently?
Yeah, so like me and my fiance, we actually try to find rodeos around here just to attend. And I talk to the LBs, talk about, hey, like, let's go to a rodeo, get in one or something. But every time I go back home, me and my fiance, we go ride horses, or we're at the family farm, you know, just working it, feeding the cattle, or just playing around, messing around on ATVs, things like that. So yeah, it's still in me.
Yeah, I need to come hang out with him. You have a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me for What's Brewing with DeMarco Jackson. All I gotta say is if DeMarco Jackson does have his wedding at the farm, per my suggestion, we get an invite, right?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, let's check in with the Louisiana Cat inactives for the day's game. We talked about it. We know that wide receiver Chris Olave is out, as well as quarterback Jake Haener, running back Kendra Miller, Ryan Ramczyk, offensive tackle. The one name that's on there that's a recent addition, but it's for a good reason, is defensive lineman Peyton Turner. It's good to see his name up there.
Yeah, he should be back pretty soon. He's back from injured reserve, and so hopefully he'll be activated pretty soon here. But the big names on there, as you mentioned, Chris Olave and Ryan Ramczyk. The Saints have had some issues with the offensive line this season. No secret there. Hopefully they can patch up with him missing, and also Chris Olave missing is huge for this offense because they've struggled. They bring Rashid Shaheed back. It seems like every time a guy comes back, a guy goes out. Hopefully they can manufacture enough offense.
Right. It was an ankle injury for Olave that he suffered when he scored the touchdown last week against the Panthers. However, they said it wasn't a high ankle sprain or anything super serious, so hopefully we will see him back soon. Let's check in with all of our fans that have come out for this matchup against the Giants in our black and gold roll call presented by Bud Light.
Bill, Liberty, Mississippi. Highway, Louisiana.
Biloxi, Mississippi.
Jackson, Mississippi.
From England, originally outside of Manchester.
I think defense is going to control the day for the Saints for sure.
Camara. K-A-M-A-R-A.
Taylor Hill is my favorite.
Cam Jordan is a beast. Like every single day, every single week he comes in and missed one game. Like that's legend status.
I'm thinking 28-17 Saints.
I'm going big. I'm going 35-7 Saints. We're going to tear it up today. 38-21.
21-7. 21-17. Saints. We gonna win by at least 7 to 10 points. 30-25 favor the Saints.
I reckon it should be 21-3, but maybe 21-7.
Go Saints.
Go Saints.
Go Saints!
Go Saints!
Go Saints! Go Saints! Hey, woo woo!
It's always great to see the fans fired up for the Saints as we're back here in the Superdome for one last game before they will head to Los Angeles next Thursday. It's going to be a short week, so we will have a lot for you throughout the week. As for this one, the whole question was, how many sacks do you think that the Saints are going to get today against the Giants? And the majority of you, 63% going 3+ sacks, which would be a very good day for the line.
That's ambitious. That's very ambitious, especially with a mobile quarterback. But I'll take it. If you guys are right, I don't mind at all, because that probably will mean the Saints win.
Yeah, it will bode well for the Saints, who definitely need the victory to stay in the running for the top of the NFC South. Thank you so much for joining us on the Saints pregame show. We'll be right back here on NewOrleansSaints.com or at Saints on Twitter/X for our postgame show to wrap up the Saints against the Giants.